In this chapter, we meet a particularly godless and cowardly king. He is Ahaz. He is the king of Judah. Remember, all the kings of the south are also descendants of King David, but he is unlike his father David. In verse 2, he did not do what was right in the eyes of the Lord. He followed the ways of the kings of Israel, and he even sacrificed his son in the fire, engaging in the detestable practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. You couldn't get any more evil than this. So Ahaz, he took the throne at a time of great political instability. You'll remember from the previous chapter that a new superpower was on the rise, the Assyrians, and they were a truly terrifying bunch. Now, imagine that you're the king in the south. How would you shore up your defenses and ready yourself for the inevitable battle when the Assyrians come knocking on your door? Well, while Ahaz is busy making his plans, a surprising thing happens. Rezin, the king of Aram, remember the Arameans have been a bit of a superpower, but they are starting to fade. That king unites with Pekah, the king of Israel, and they march together against Ahaz, the king in the south. But what a miserable turn of events. This is not at all what Ahaz would have expected. Now, there is a reason why these two nations are ganging up on Judah, and it's pretty clever if you think about it. If they can apply military pressure to Judah and cause them to crumble, then perhaps the three of them could pool their resources under one united leadership against the Assyrians. So they're basically trying to grab the resources in terms of the gold they might need to maybe hire extra mercenary armies to help them from outside, and the people they might need to conscript into the army to serve their purposes. So before Assyria gets down to them, they have decided to turn and attack Judah. So the king of Judah has a crisis on his hands. Now, there is a solution that seems crazy in the eyes of the world, but is in fact courageous and godly and utterly appropriate. Here is that solution. Cry out to the living God. Turn from your sin, put your trust in him, and then arm yourself for battle. The Lord has promised in this era of redemption history to fight on behalf of the people who love him and trust him. So be the people who love him and trust him, and you will win victories like Joshua did in the days of old. Trust the word of the Lord. That is the solution that seems crazy to the world, but is actually utterly sensible. The solution that Ahaz goes for, it seems crazy to the eyes of those who have studied the scriptures, but in worldly terms, this is a sensible, clever move. This will come back to bite him long term, but for now, it does push the problem away temporarily. This is what he does. Ahaz sent messengers to say to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, "I am your servant and vassal." So, Judah in the south, above him Israel and Aram, who have turned their attention on him, but above them all is Assyria, that terrifying empire that is on the rise and is committing absolute atrocities that strike fear into the hearts of all those who hear about them. But the king of Judah sends messengers directly to the king of Assyria to say, "We are now under your authority. We belong to you. Consider us as part of your kingdom and we'll pay you loads of money for the privilege. Oh, but I should let you know, we are under attack. Come and save us." We read that Ahaz took the silver and gold found in the temple of the Lord and in the treasuries of the royal palace and sent it as a gift to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria complied by attacking Damascus, that is the capital of Aram, and capturing it, killing the king. And so, for the time being, Ahaz is safe physically, but he's not safe spiritually, and here is why. After the trouble has died down, King Ahaz then goes to meet Tiglath-Pileser in Damascus. We read that he saw an altar in Damascus belonging to a false and foreign god, and he sent to Uriah the priest in Jerusalem a sketch of this altar with detailed plans for its construction. Uriah, this priest, is a man who ought to be full of zeal for the Lord and care about truth more than anything else. But this man, it seems, cares more about keeping his job than honouring the judge of all the world. He switches out one form of religion for another, happily making this new altar. And so we read that when the king came back from Damascus, he presented offerings on it. This, in all likelihood, is the point at which he sacrificed his son in the fire. Remember that reference from verse 3. We read that he engaged in all kinds of detestable practices, rearranging the Temple of Solomon to suit his own ideas and desires. We read the condemning words in verse 16. After a whole load of ridiculous changes ordered by the king, we simply read, "And Uriah the priest did just as King Ahaz had ordered." What a wimp. But eventually King Ahaz dies, and the throne is passed to his son Hezekiah. Here's the question: will Hezekiah grow up to follow in the footsteps of his dad, or will he see the seriousness of evil and detest these demonic practices? Will Judah be enabled to turn from its idolatry and run to God at last for safety? Well, over the next couple of chapters, we'll find out.